idea of innovation. The money center banks have been sitting on their hands for years, crapping on the crypto industry, but it's not about Bitcoin. Nothing to do with Bitcoin. It's digital payment systems. That's the potential. That's the amazing opportunity we have here. Now, the reason that will be important and why we'll get price appreciation on Bitcoin is the minute that happens, it will signal the move to the next act, the Market Infrastructure Act. And why that matters to everybody in this room is we will finally determine, is Bitcoin a commodity or a security? And when that is determined and regulated, Katie bar the doors, $1 trillion will come and index that asset. Let's all hope that happens while we're all alive here. Anyways, thank you very much.
Good evening, Warriors. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite crypto news related channel. And today is going to be an exciting episode as we're breaking down a bunch of very exciting amendments. Now, it's a Saturday night stream. You know what that means. We are doing a giveaway. And Johnny Krypto, although this isn't Good Morning Crypto, you let me handle those comments, my friend. But I want to give a big shout out to every single person who's donating tonight. Xavier with the $10, Jaeger Young with the $5. We're going to go through all these donations, and we love and appreciate every single one of you. But we are going to be giving away another exclusive piece of XRP merchandise. And Johnny Krypto, hold up that beautiful poster right now. And we're going to show our listeners exactly what we're giving away, as we have a poster from XRP Las Vegas that was signed by Zach Rector, Mikkel, Molly, I can't remember the names, Ito Farida, Bree Teresi, many more, myself, Johnny, of course, Jake Claver signed this thing. This is going to be a phenomenal poster. And check it out, guys. We're giving it away absolutely free here on Good Evening Crypto. So if you're excited about that, smash that like button. Let the YouTube algorithm know, hey, I'm excited to win that poster. Now, on another positive note, Johnny Krypto, we got a really exciting product that we're going to be covering today's episode, a brand new weighted ETF that's 75% exposure to the S&P and 25% exposure to XRP. So a lot of older investors, traditional investors, they're going to be excited about this new product. And I just want to throw one last reminder out here before we dive into today's episode. Every single person who donates today will get double, meaning 2 entries for a chance to win that poster. But we're going to do a raffle live on air at the end of the stream, give away that poster, give back to the community. Johnny Krypto, there's a lot of exciting news. We're also going to talk about this. Uphold is going to be launching a yield feature for XRP. And we're going to talk about that later on in the episode. I don't want to give away too many details. But first of all, 2,000 live listeners here, over 360 watching on YouTube, guys. If you're excited, you enjoy these streams, show us some love, smash that like button, or throw a comment in chat. Even if you're a hater, Johnny Krypto, listen, they were making fun of you for gelling your hair before the episode. When you got great hair like yourself, you got to gel it up and get it right before the show, my friend. So before we dive into the details, how are you feeling? And thanks for being here.
At my age, you're just happy to have here, Abs. Good evening to all the Crypto Maniacs tonight. I hope they're doing well. It's been great. I'm happy to be back home in the home country. Of course, it is great to be in the old country too. But you know what, Abs? It is always fun to be able to kind of chat it with you, bring it home, bring it to all the listeners tonight. We've got this fantastic poster, and guys, make sure you go over to my Twitter page, sign up. That's where the raffle link is. If we haven't said that, go to the Twitter page at JohnnyCrypto00. You will see a link there for a Survey Monkey. Go sign up, fill that out, and you will get registered into this raffle. And if you want a second chance, as Abs said, there you go, Abs, just scroll down. It should be right down there at the bottom, or the second tweet there. But guys, we are excited because there's some great news on the cusp. Look at that beautiful poster, Abs. Signed by a lot of influencers as well. Pretty good there. You won't find too many like that. But with that said, Abs, I'm excited to hop into it, man. So let's see what we got tonight as we talk about the next round.
Listen, guys, Johnny's not rusty. He's just getting back into his groove here. It's like a basketball player. You go out into the NBA. Typically, if somebody averages 24 that first game back, they're going to give you 18 to 20. And that's all we need from you tonight, Johnny Krypto. So I'm excited to have you for today's episode. Now, on a more serious note, we are going to hit a lot of these live donations after we go through some of the articles, but we're going to be giving away that poster from XRP Las Vegas signed by Jake Claver, Mikkel, myself, Johnny Krypto. There's a bunch of other names on there that are really exciting. We're giving that away absolutely free tonight. If you'd like a chance to win, head on over to Johnny Krypto's Twitter, go to the tweet directly underneath the one that's pinned to his portfolio. Now there, you're going to see a very simple link. You'll click on it. You'll go through the process. It's totally free, guys. We're not doing anything. We just want to give away this poster, and we need to collect your phone number and your name in order to do so. So head on over to Johnny Crypto's Twitter, put a free entry in. And also, if you'd like to get double the chance of winning, donate during the stream, and we'll give you a double entry for the live raffle. Now, the title of today's episode, guys, is exactly what we're going to talk about at the beginning of today's show. We are going to be breaking down a brand new product that just hit the American markets. And what is this, Johnny? The Cyber Hornet S&P 500 and XRP strategy ETF. Now, this is going to be trading under the ticker symbol XXX. And what's interesting about this is it's not a new filing. It is an existing fund where they're making amendments to add XRP. Now, why is that important? Because it's not a new filing, there's only a 75-day deadline before this hits the American markets. That means on December 10th, we will have a product, and this is going to trade on the New York Stock Exchange, that will be weighted 75% for the S&P and 25% for XRP. Now, why is that relevant and important? Because there's a lot of people, and I want to give a shout out to my friend Clark, a lot of 80-year-olds, a lot of 70-year-olds who are big on traditional investments, but understand the value of digital assets. And buying into an asset that gives you 75% exposure to something safe and secure like S&P 500 equities, while also giving you that upside for XRP, meaning when we have a chance like November of 2024 and this asset goes up 400%, you're also capitalizing on this through the ETF. That's really exciting, Johnny Crypto. But let's dive into some of the details here. And live chat, let me know if you're excited about this product or if you think this is a nothing burger. Ones and twos in chat. Now, on September 26, 2025, the company OneTrust filed an amendment with the SEC to launch their S&P 500 and XRP strategy ETF under the ticker symbol XXX. Now, this new portfolio fund and ETF is notable because it's the first United States filing to directly tie XRP to the S&P 500 index in a regulated product. This is going to potentially ease adoption by institutional investors like retirement funds and registered investment advisors. So, Johnny, I really think that's the demographic that they're going after here, and they're probably going to do it very successfully. I could see a very easy marketing strategy here for anybody who wants to be involved in selling these brand new ETFs. Now, most of our listeners are focused on the exciting ones. We got Grayscale on October 18th. We've got Wisdom Tree, Franklin Templeton, major multi-billion, even trillion-dollar asset managers filing for these products. But this is a brand new phenomenon that we're witnessing. With the Rex Osprey ETF about a week ago, that was the first time we ever had spot XRP trading on the New York Stock Exchange. Did nearly $40 million on the first day. These products have high demand behind the scenes, and as Wall Street begins to get offered these new assets, they're going to eat them up. We're going to see massive volume for a lot of these blockchain products, and that includes XRP, but it's not just XRP. HBAR, Stellar, some of these other filings that we're seeing, this is going to drive huge amounts of liquidity into our favorite altcoins, and the best part about that, it's icing on the cake. This market has been retail driven up until this point. With these new ETFs giving Wall Street access, it's going to change the fundamentals of the market today and bring us into that next era, like Kevin O'Leary had outlined at the beginning of the episode, where it's not about Bitcoin's store of value or regulating this market. It's about which blockchain product is best and who is utilizing these technologies. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is genius when you think about it. Most of the boomers, who are the guys that have the majority of the money anyway, and my generation, right? They are looking for something safe, but they want a little exposure to what's coming. And, you know, a combination of the S&P 500, I think you said it was 75% S&P 500 is genius, right? Because that gives them the safety net of feeling comfortable, like, okay, I'm in what I'm used to, but then I get a little exposure. I get to put my feet wet into some of this new stuff that's coming that I don't understand anything about. That's literally, you know, I hear a lot of boomers telling me that, like, listen, I was just in Italy last week with a bunch of family members. A lot of them have no clue what crypto is. They're all asking me about it. And a lot of them are the older generation. And so they kind of they're hearing about it, but they don't know about it. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between hearing and knowing. And so they want to know, they want to get in, but they're too old to kind of understand and comprehend, nor do they even want to. They just want somebody to tell them what to do and how to do it. And that's the beauty of having a product like this that's coming on the market, is it's something that they can resonate with and understand the S&P 500 and know that they get exposure to the rest of the crypto space that's coming, or at least some portion of it. And they don't have to worry about, how do I do it? How do I set up a wallet? How do I buy a coin? They don't have time for it. They don't want to know that. So that's why I think, when Kevin O'Leary talked about Katie bar the doors, because there's going to be a lot of money coming. It won't only be coming in just from the institutional side, which is what he was talking about, but you're also going to get at the same time, if you get more of these type of products, ETFs, where just your regular boomer can invest apps, you got a lot more money that can be coming in as well from that perspective. So it is just it's exciting for me to see that the markets are finally realizing that it's okay to offer these products, and now they're going to start catering it to where the money is, and that's the baby boomer and the Gen X generations.
I agree with that, Johnny. And we're going to start breaking down this video why Bitcoin investors hate XRP. And the reality is, it's like the taller, more handsome sibling, right? There's just a little bit of jealousy going on over there, Johnny Krypto. But we're going to read through some of these live donations, guys. Just want to give a massive thank you to anybody out there who enjoys this program. We're 11 minutes into the episode. We got 4,300 live listeners here. If you're excited and you enjoy this content, show us some love. Smash that like button. We already passed 250 likes. Our goal is to pass 500 likes on stream. I think it's possible. And I want to give a big shout out to our friend Xavier ID with the 2 celebration emojis, a very important member of the Good Evening Crypto community, Johnny Krypto. This man is here every single stream and donating. We appreciate you, my friend. Jaeger Young with the $4.99 just gave a donation, so greatly appreciated. We look forward to every single one of you guys contributing to the episode. And remember, if you donate, you will have double the chance to win the free poster that we're giving away tonight, signed by myself, Mickle, Jake Claver, and many more. Now, John commented, soon spot ETFs will allow XRP to decouple from the Bitcoin price action. Always a great show, boys. We appreciate you. Thank you for the $4.99. And I absolutely agree. This new spot ETF inflows, they're going to create a new buying pressure for the entire asset class. We're really going to see this $4 trillion asset class turn into a 6, 7, 10, maybe even $12 trillion asset class by the end of 2026. Keep in mind, guys. Angus Scrim says, cheers with the 1 whiskey glass. He's taking it easy tonight, Johnny. He's 2 or 3 whiskey glasses. Just one. It must be a slow day. I'm not sure what's going on. Jaeger Young with the 10.
He's just getting started, Abs. The show just started. Let's see if by the end of the show he might have about 3 or 4 glasses on there in his next donation.
That's a good point. And guys, we are going to go through all these donations, but I'm only going to hit a certain number as we get into this video here. Jaeger Young said, I've been here for a few months now, and I can honestly say Abs and the Good Morning Crypto and Good Evening Crypto team know what they're talking about. They give us honest news, and Johnny's there, so that makes it better. Shout out to our man, Johnny Krypto, and his big fan, Jaeger Young in chat. Massive thank you to you, my friend. We appreciate you. Crypto Clay with the $9.99 and no comment. Crypto Clay, thank you so much. We remember that $50 dono from a few days ago. You made our day, my friends. Joey Bag of Donuts says, Joey Trunks here. Johnny boy, where's the cannolis? He already ate them before stream, guys. You already know the answer. Jaeger Young once again. Johnny, we almost had a heart attack if you weren't showing up tonight. They were concerned. Listen, the people care, man. Benny, big shout out to you. Thank you for the $2. You will receive double the chances to win tonight on that raffling of the poster. Rob said, thanks for all you do, guys. Never miss a show. Ryan, and a big thank you to you, Rob. Ryan with the $2. You're going to have double the entries for tonight as well. Big thank you, my friend. Benny Ben says, hey, Abs off topic, but I respect your opinion. Have you heard of Black Dog, and what's your opinion? Or Block Dag. Sorry, Block Dag. Not off the top of my head. I'll have to think about that. It does kind of ring a bell, but I'm not entirely sure. Sorry, I wish I had more input for you, but I'm not going to talk about something I don't remember. So I apologize for that. Crypto Clay said, how do you win if you don't have X Abs? Well, if you do a live donation, which you already have, Crypto Clay, we are going to add your name into the raffle. Johnny Krypto, floor is yours.
You don't need an X to raffle, guys. You can literally just go to my X account. It shouldn't require you to do it. If not, Abs, there is a SurveyMonkey link, and I am going to actually put that in the chat now in a second, and you'll be able to just click that and go there as well for anybody who doesn't have X.
And last donation here before we dive into the video, guys. Atlas commented, these ETFs should be ISO products only. Now, I actually disagree with this. I think there's plenty of demand for products that are not ISO compliant. And I can give a couple of great examples, but even a product like AVAX, right? AVAX isn't ISO compliant, but there's tons of demand for a product that's better than Ethereum to run smart contracts on. AVAX is one of those products. So I do think if there's companies that are willing to invest in these ETFs, the market will come in and give them those products and meet that demand. And we're on the precipice of that here in 2025, guys. But we're going to start diving into this video. This is a clip out of the policy executive at Ripple describing how XRP was created and why Bitcoin investors are always concerned about the success of XRP. Here it is.
Proof of work doesn't work. It's been widely.
Ryan, proof of work.
Let me finish. Proof of work doesn't work.
Finish, please.
And in the early days of Bitcoin, there was a whole group of developers that broke off to create other assets, XRP being one of them, that doesn't use mining, that's cheaper from an energy perspective than Visa, and already scales to 1,500 transactions a second. A lot of these problems have already been solved. The challenge for adoption comes back to policy. The policy uncertainty around some of the assets has limited adoption, particularly here in the US. And I'm speaking from Ripple and XRP because we use that asset because it's a half a cent per payment. It's basically free. It scales and it's efficient. So 1,500 transactions a second at nearly no energy burn. So we're at a point today where there are real solutions to all of these challenges that already exist. Policy has become the challenge. And we heard on the first panel that around centralization on China, and it's going to be a hard pill for Peter to swallow. But 80% of the mining power for Bitcoin is controlled by 6 mining pools, 5 of which are in China. Today, the policy certainty in the US exists for Bitcoin and Ethereum, despite the fact those are China-controlled platforms. So activity goes to those platforms. What we need to do from a policy perspective in the US is look at the places where there are uncertainty. And one place, I'm speaking directly for me here, is XRP, where it looks like Bitcoin. It's decentralized, it's open source. We have 7% of the validation power on that, rather small in there. Grouping or giving clarity to those ones that are very similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum, that have the same characteristics and should be classified the same way. And then we're creating a level playing field across all the cryptos. I'm not anti-Bitcoin or anti-Ethereum by any means. I think there's a lot of great potential and breakthrough there. But we need to have a level playing field so the market can pick which ones they want to use and not be, as today they are, hindered by regulatory uncertainty.
Well, Johnny, that's the big thing that we've been discussing with the Clarity Act, is that the questions that all these Wall Street companies have will be answered when we get Congress's opinion on a lot of these different topics. And Kevin O'Leary highlighted this as well. Like Bitcoin, there's still no legislation that says it's not a security. Now, the regulators themselves, some of the chairmen have come out, and even the president has said it's not a security, but there's no legislation that determines that Bitcoin is not a security yet. And when we have all 3 of these bills passed, which the big one's the Genius Act, we already got it. Then we have the Clarity Act, that's going to expand this space. But the third one, guys, and this is slept on massively right now, is the Bitcoin Reserve Act. And if the United States government at any point is going out into the open market and accumulating these assets at a rapid pace, Johnny, we are going to see governments all around the world do the exact same thing, probably with a handful of digital assets. And, you know, I just have a question here. What's the largest American digital asset? That's XRP, guys. So when the world is analyzing this market and they're saying, all right, we're going to need some exposure to Bitcoin, that's an obvious one. This Ethereum, it's the second largest. That seems fairly obvious as well. What's this third asset? Oh, that's the largest United States asset. We should probably get some exposure there. If you guys agree, smash that like button. I think that's not only going to be one of the main reasons this market expands, but Johnny, if you look at where we're going by 2028, 2030, 3, 4, 5 years out, it's going to be a government centralized market, whether people like it or not. The governments, the Wall Street companies, that's where our next leg up is. And if we're going to celebrate that price action, we also got to celebrate the consequence that it's now going to be a centralized industry. It's going to be controlled by the big players in a way that we've never seen before, at least not as transparently as it's going to be here starting in 2025, guys. But let me know some of your thoughts. I want to give a massive thank you. We did get a bunch of donations that came in. We'll read through those. But Johnny Krypto, I'd love to hear your response. Floor is yours.
You know, Abs, first of all, when you listen to that video, Ryan was not wrong there when he was talking about policy was the biggest showstopper, if you will, for adoption. He was right back then 7 years ago, and he's right today. We're still waiting to get that. Now, the good news is we're on the cusp of finally getting that clarity, and they couldn't label it any better than what they did, calling it the Clarity Act. That's exactly what we need. The market needs it for this whole industry to move forward. Otherwise, we're just going to teeter-totter the way we're doing and, you know, bits and pieces here and there. But you haven't really seen. What you've seen is a lot of the smart money coming into this space right now, positioning themselves, getting ready for when the Clarity Act comes, because then that's going to unlock and bring in so much more liquidity into the space. You heard Kevin O'Leary say it. You heard Ryan say it. You're hearing us say it, that it is going to be what I believe the linchpin, similar to 1996 when it unlocked the floodgates for 97, 98, 99 to allow the internet boom to happen. And we saw one of the biggest stock market bull cycles in history. Could that happen again with crypto? Could we see a 2 to 3 year bull run, which would completely annihilate what everybody thinks? Everybody thinks, oh yeah, 4-year bull cycle, you're gonna get a quick little bull run and 4-year bear cycle. may not happen this time. We may get a 2 to 3 year crazy, cycle that we see here happening in the space. Who knows? We'll have to see. But to me, I believe really we're on the cusp of something like that because of it. And then couple it with what you just said. So not only do you get the clarity from the industry that allows, clarity from the regulatory agencies that allows the industry to come in, but then if governments are secretly stockpiling this stuff, because that's what they do, right? They don't want other countries to know what they're doing, but they're all hedging and wondering, is the U.S. going to create a strategic reserve? And if they are, well, what are they going to do? I'm sure there are countries right now analyzing what the U.S. is going to do. We know President Trump has already promised to make the U.S. the crypto capital, of the world. So you don't think other governments aren't trying to front run us, Abs? They're not trying to figure out what is the U.S. going to do so they can make sure they've already got that stockpile in place? You better believe they're thinking about it. And I can tell you right now, not only thinking about it, they probably already have stockpiled Bitcoin, Ethereum, and probably 1 or 2 or 3 of the other top assets in the world. XRP, you talked about, Solana, and maybe Cardano or something in the top 10. No doubt about it, in my opinion, they're already trying to front run us, knowing that we may be on the cusp of doing something big. And why is that exciting? Because, man, you just can't. The excitement is overwhelming. Just thinking about, for me, when I think back of 96, 97, that if the Clarity Act does what that did then, and then you've got governments turning this asset into a strategic reserve, which really wasn't something that could have been done with the internet. That means that's a whole nother investment on top of the crypto space, or on top of the retailers and the industrial money coming in. Now you've got government money too. Oh my God, dude. It's going to be stupid ridiculous how high this industry can go with all that kind of money flooding into it. But none of it happens until we get the Clarity Act.
Guys, we did get some really good comments here, and I'm going to go through a lot of the live donations, but I wanted to skip towards this one right here. Rob commented, Bobby Bacala, shout out to a fellow Italian. He said, lots of FUD regarding how the XRP community will be disappointed from zero price movement after the ETFs launch next month. What are some of your thoughts? Now, would I be surprised if it was a situation of buy the rumors, sell the news in the really short term? Not necessarily. But what am I betting on? I am betting on the fact that October is historically bullish. We have all these different inputs of liquidity that are about to be turned on, and we're still sitting at $2.80. As fearful as the XRP community is, or at least that's what social media is telling me right now, the price action is telling a very different story. 12 months ago, this was a 45-cent asset in September of 2024. Now we're sitting at $2.80, and people are telling me it's the end. I think there's too much positivity over these next 2 or 3 months, as well as just the regular bull market and the liquidity cycle that we talk about. I think that we are going to have a bull run, and that's just what I'm sticking to this entire time. So here's what I'll say in regard to the question. When you think about the ETFs launching next month, why is this going to be positive? These ETF issuers will have to meet the spot demand for how much is purchased of the ETF. Meaning if $50 million of a spot XRP ETF are purchased, there needs to be $50 million worth of XRP to offer that underlying product. There's not a lot of nuance there when it comes to new demand. So this is going to bring new demand from places that we haven't seen before, meaning traditional brokerage funds, and that's inevitably going to lead to a price increase over a long enough period of time. Another example would be, don't overemphasize the first 3, 4, 6 weeks, but think about it in the long run. What does $6 billion of extra liquidity during a trading year do? And then what does that do after $8 billion the following year and $20 billion the following year? It's a compounding effect here. Keep that in mind as we go into this evolution, guys. People are underestimating what these ETFs can do. Now, I'm not talking about people like Zach Rector or Mikkel or something, but I'm saying a lot of these people who are not part of the XRP community, they're underestimating how impactful many of these products may end up being. We got 7,000 live listeners here. If you're enjoying this content, show us some love, smash that like button, and we're going to get into a pretty interesting part of this episode next, because as the value for any digital asset increases, Johnny, that has global implications. This is a global market. If Bitcoin reaches $1 million a coin per se, like Michael Saylor is going around telling the world, even Eric Trump said this earlier this week, that Bitcoin will eventually be $1 million. That means it would be a $25 trillion asset. That's like 60% of American GDP or something. It may even be a higher number. Think about how much value that has now just been minted and produced out of essentially nowhere. So we have to think about this in a whole new way as these assets grow to be trillion, $5 trillion, $15 trillion ecosystems. And I'm putting my friend to sleep over here. Get this man a Red Bull. But we're going to hit some of these donations really fast, and then we'll keep rocking and rolling.
It is good evening crypto for a reason, my friend. I'm still jet lagged from that perspective, so I apologize for the loss.
That's okay. No need to apologize. I'm just making jokes, guys. But we got Johnny in chat. He said, all I ask is that my wrench is on GMC, brother. I'm naked without it. Well, first of all, put some clothes on. Second of all, we can make that happen, but you're going to have to comment when I'm live on GMC so I can do it live on the spot.
And you're going to have to put, I just want to repeat, and you're going to have to put some clothes on.
Yes, that is absolutely mandatory for both Johnny in the live chat and Johnny Krypto on the show. Right. You're welcome, my friends. But big thank you to Papa Lou 69. He said, super sticker, $10. We appreciate you, my friend. And you will have double the chance to win the poster we're giving away tonight. Kenneth stated, love the hair, Johnny. Love the show and the 3T Academy. This is how you know our live chat loves you. They're willing to lie to you, my friend. That's just the love. Hostile Takeover with the $2 dono. We appreciate you here every single day and in GMC. And you're going to have double the chance to win. So thank you for the $2 donation, my friend. DRM commented, go, boys. XRP needs to give my old bones some rest. Appreciate your channel, Abs. Thank you very much. I'm happy you appreciate the channel. And a massive thank you for the $28 donation. It needs to give my young bones some rest, right? Johnny Krypto can't say the same, but we'll keep it rolling here. Now, Chris said 589. Big thank you and a lucky number. You guys are the best. XRP, XLM, and HBAR. Absolutely agree. JB with the $20 stated, XRP is the way. Make no mistake about it, guys. It's like the way, the truth, and the light, right? Here's Roy White, who said, XRP is about to change everything. Let's go, baby. We don't even need it to change everything. We just need it to change the price chart. If we see a $5, $6, $8 XRP, guys, be appreciative of that. There's some unrealistic expectations out there, but there is some real data that says we could see $4, $5, $6, $8, $10, $12 XRP if this bull market plays out as it typically does. Now, thank you to Bobby Baklava. We just answered that one. K Capone stated, good evening, Abs and Johnny. Share and smash that like button. XRP to $750. Now, listen, if XRP is $750, it's going to be Good Evening Crypto live from Johnny's yacht in Italy. That's what we'll have to rename this show on the spot. ST said, can you guys give the Lena versus XRP BS to bed? Thank you. We can do that. I will dive into that later in the episode. I actually have that prepared. We're going to go through Gary Cardone's tweet as well. Tom M with the $2 dono. Thank you, Tom. And the final one is K Capone again. He said, tell Rob B to get our Beyond Broke Mastermind. All right. I'm telling him right now, Rob B, go get your Beyond Broke Mastermind, as they say. But Johnny, we are going to get into we're going to get into the exciting episode that we're already in right now. And this is where we're going to start off with. I said, when these assets get to be $1 million when Bitcoin is $1 million per coin and these assets are multi-trillion-dollar ecosystems, that's going to change the entire landscape of the global economy. It's not just going to make people in our live chat wealthy. It's not just going to redefine how we transact value. It's going to redefine every business in the country eventually, right? Maybe not in the first 5 years, maybe not even the first 10 years. But if this process continues 20, 30 years from now, Johnny, your grandkids will not know what a cash US dollar is. It'll be a relic sitting above the fireplace in a glass case, talking about back in the day before they had cell phones. But we're going to dive into this right now, guys. Here it is.
The numbers are just unbelievable. Like at $1 million of Bitcoin, that means that Bitcoin's market cap's over $20 trillion. US GDP is $25 trillion. So you're talking about manifesting out of thin air the US GDP. I mean, the US economy is the biggest economy in the world. think about how much attention is given to if the US economy is growing at 3% or 4%. So much attention is given to that. Okay, well, we just invented out of thin air an asset that's worth 100% of the GDP, and it might fluctuate in the course of one day 5%, which is the entire global, the GDP growth that we look for an entire year. So you just have this asset that's going to start distorting the real world as it gains scale and size. Like at $1 million, it's one of the biggest asset categories in the world. And so, it's going to start having real world implications where the price of Bitcoin is what's going to drive inflation. Or, if Bitcoin goes into a bear market, like there's going to be a financial crisis that extends beyond Bitcoin into the real world. And so we're just watching this process by which the world's financial heartbeat is synchronized to what happens to Bitcoin, because so many people own it and it's so widely distributed throughout society, and the value of it has gotten so large.
So Johnny, you can replace Bitcoin throughout that entire analogy with, XRP. And I don't think it's a one currency take all situation. So I'm hesitant to do so. But here's what I do believe. These Bitcoin maximalists don't have a grasp on reality. Bitcoin will never be this asset that's ubiquitous and a fundamental part of the global economy because it doesn't have the ability to be. It will be the assets that absorb modern traditional products. It will be when brokerages bring their ETFs on chain. The underlying blockchains, those will be the ones that reap the benefits, not Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be over to the side being a digital gold doing its own thing. Same thing with stablecoins. Same thing with smart contracts. All of these different niche markets that exist in the blockchain space will be dominated by these newer, cheaper, faster, and quite frankly, better technologies. But it's not just the XRP ledger. It's Stellar. It's HBAR. It's Quant networks. I mean, guys, there was a major network announcement for Quant. It's Chainlink. It's AVAX in my belief. It's Ondo. It's Sui. There's 12, 15, 25, maybe even, I don't want to expand it too far, but maybe even 100 different projects that are going to legitimately have use cases and change the way the economy works. And I think that if our listeners are smart enough and privy enough to buy these assets and not be overly focused on these next 3 to 6 months, but be hyper-focused on the next 3 to 6 years, this is going to be a completely different world. And if it doesn't tell you enough, Johnny Krypto, 5 years since the C-19 crisis, how much of the world has changed since then? I think that's a great example of just how different things are in a short period of time. What are some of your thoughts on this one?
The world has changed significantly, Abs, but I agree with you that I think you really want to be looking at these from a long-term view perspective. And I think most people aren't. I actually think most people are looking at this stuff from a short-term get-rich-quick perspective. That's why everybody's hanging. Just look at Twitter. God forbid XRP drops 10 cents. Everybody's crying. Everybody thinks it's the end of the world, And I just laugh when I see that. Because when I look at it, and if you just, I'm just fortunate, Abs, to live through the 97, 98, 99, and see, Amazon, for example, go from $1 all the way up to 120, and then back down to $1. So if you sat here and cried about when it was going up 30 cents or down 30 cents, like who gives a shit when it's 120? You know what I mean? But here we are worrying about these few pennies here and there as it moves up and down. People just aren't seeing the big picture. And I think you have to kind of say that if I'm going to invest in this space, I'm going to come into this space, I'm going to have a 4, 5, 8 year time frame to allow this space to grow, to allow adoption to happen, and then to see who the winners and losers are. I mean, listen, guys, the bottom line is that there's going to be a lot of these coins that are going to go away. But the ones you mentioned, but you said it wrong, Sui. It's a French one. Sui. But the Sui, right? There are good players, right? There are good technologies out there, and you got Solana, you got XRP, you got AVAX. You mentioned a bunch of them, Link, Ondo, Quant. Those are going to be, the ones that are going to be in the play for trying to make up that ecosystem. And I'm telling you, these things are going to coexist. They're going to be layers on top of layers built as they serve, because they all serve different purposes. Ones are oracles, ones are smart contracts, ones are cross-border payment solutions. They need a little bit of everything to work together. So if you're going out there and you're wondering in this space, how do I play it? You really want to make sure you're diversified. You want to have exposure to some of the different technologies. And to me, not only just different coins, but I don't even look at it from a coins perspective anymore. I'm not sure how you look at it, but I always look at it from the sectors. And I'm looking at the real world asset tokenization sector. Then I look at the AI sector. I look at the gaming sector. I look at the smart contract sector. And I want to make sure that I've got exposure to a number of coins within each of those different categories. Because again, you don't know who's going to be the big winner on any of these. I mean, do we want and love XRP? Do we want? Of course. But is it going to be the big winner? Maybe, maybe not. But having exposure to several of these is going to put you in a great position in the long run to make sure that you're capturing on the gains. Not only that, there is a whole nother opportunity to make money when you look at any type of new technology that comes out, because there's two phases to it. And we've talked about this many, many times. But for any of the new listeners here, because I know we have a lot of new listeners here, there's a speculation bull run phase, and then there's a utility phase, which comes many, many years later. Well, right now, Abs, we are moving into the speculation utility. This means the speculation money, that utility will be coming and will be driving this market 3, 5, 8, 10 years from now, okay? So there is going to be a lot of bets being placed in the very short future. I'd say within this next quarter, Q4 of 2025, and definitely Q1 of 2026, if we get the Clarity Act, that's going to bring so much money and so much bets into the space that you almost won't be able to pick wrong. But the ones that you pick right, oh boy, it's going to be sayonara. But for now, they will, like someone saying here, Gala's dead. Yeah, it might be dead right now. But I'm actually glad that he said that. That's perfect. This is the perfect example. Like Gala's dead, right? No, it's not. Because here's what's going to happen. There's going to be so much money coming into this space looking to find players. And because Gala raised so much money in the prior one and already has a bunch of games in the tank, if you will, money will find itself there. Because there's going to be players that are going to be afraid of missing out, and institutions are going to say, nope, I want to have a little bit of exposure to this, that gaming space. And Gala's going to be one of those players that's going to see some money. Is it dead right now? Yeah, of course. It's out of flavor right now. But that happens with these markets. These things go in and out of favor all the time. But it doesn't mean it's dead yet. I still think you're going to see a shit ton of money coming in and bringing a lot of these dead things back to life again.
That'll be nice, guys. If you agree, smash that like button. We're going to talk a little XRP price action really quick, because this builds upon the idea. Would a $10 XRP be satisfying for you? One's in chat for yes, two's in chat for no. And what do I mean? Someone like this guy, Abs, $2,000 XRP by 2026, he's not going to be satisfied by 10 bucks, my friends. And there's no shade being thrown. Shout out to you. I appreciate the comment. I'm just making light of a situation where a lot of people have very high expectations, but I'd like to know, if we got to $10, would that be satisfying? Would that accomplish some of your goals, at least for the short term? One's for yes, two's for no. We're going to listen to Jake Claver talk to Paul Barron about some of his moderate XRP price predictions here for 2025. Here it is.
Well, again, I have a full theory on all this, how it gets to extremely high prices, but it's a bunch of catalysts that all kind of culminate for the perfect storm for that to happen. If it's just the ETFs, I think
let's do the bare minimum. Let's say we know ETFs are going to happen, and we're pretty much sure, we're 90% sure we're going to get a rate
on
cut.
the DTC. So, I think a $10 to $13 XRP would be very reasonable. Maybe even $20 to $25 XRP.
End of year or by this time next?
End of year. If we get the ETFs launched this year, I think that you could see that amount of liquidity move in. I think that there's going to be other things that culminate that cause it to go much higher than that.
Right.
But if it was just the ETFs, I think that those price ranges make the most sense.
And if Jake's correct, guys, it's going to be so exciting, because what we're going to see here is a fundamental change in the global economy. His prediction about blockchain being used as a solution for this debt issue that's been created, obviously it has weight, and Jake's a very informed guy. But if it does end up happening, and the XRP community is looking at a situation where, Johnny, your portfolio just went from $3 per token to $750 per token, God only knows the type of money that you're going to be dealing with. And if you haven't embodied that and created a plan for yourself, now is the time to do so. Figure out, what am I going to do with this wealth? Am I going to let it sit? Am I going to spend it? Am I going to allocate it? That is the fundamental conversation that you need to have with yourself today. And it's the biggest way that regular retail investors, people who are in the middle class and the lower class who haven't made money before, if you're about to make your first $100,000, you must have a plan. You must know what you're going to do, because if not, it's going to be overwhelming. You're going to feel like you can't handle it. I've had this conversation with a lot of different people, and sometimes, Johnny, the bull market is more stressful than the bear market. I believe it or not, that's the feedback that we get from talking to people every single day for years now, guys. But we do have 9,100 live listeners here. If you're enjoying this content, smash that like button. If you haven't, subscribe to the brand new channel. Now, we got 9,000 live listeners, let me check it live on YouTube. We got 720 watching on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, head on over to the Good Evening Crypto channel. That is on YouTube. We just passed 25,000 subs. So I want to give a massive thank you, guys. We officially passed 25,000 subscribers on our way to 100K. That'll be exciting when we get to 100K. We're not going to celebrate too early about 25K. Not yet, my friends, but we're proud of that we got here, Johnny. Marlon Wells with the $5 donation stated, sold my CRO to buy the dip for XRP, 3 digits party. It's gonna happen. Listen, if it happens, our lives are going to be different. That doesn't mean me and Johnny. I mean the live chat, the people who have been here for years, the ones who found us back in 2022 or 2023 or even 2024 prior to the euphoria. Oh my goodness, these people were buying 50-cent XRP. You're telling me it's going to be $750? That means for every $1 that those people invested, it would be worth $1,500. That's unreal capital returns. Name another market where you can get exposure like that, guys. And we're going to talk about earning free XRP starting in this part of the episode as well, because a lot of people are focused on yield right now. But why are these ETFs so important? Because these ETFs are going to take liquidity off the open market. Many of these yield products are doing the same thing. They're taking XRP that isn't liquid and they're locking it up and allowing people to earn. The more people who are taking advantage of these yield products, the less XRP is in the circulating supply on exchanges. So this may also have a positive impact on the price there, Johnny, but any quick comments, then we'll dive into that.
No, so I think you kind of covered most of it there for the most part. I will say this, folks, if you want to sign up for this beautiful raffle poster, this is a once and I think there's only maybe 2 of these abs signed. I think you might have the other one. I'm not even sure for raffle. So maybe one of a kind is signed up. Head over to the Twitter account, sign up on it. It is only, guys, it is only for USA. So if you live in the US and you need to be live during the show, because we will call you when we spin the wheel live at the end of the show to do that. But that said, abs, I think you're right. People have set an expectation in their head of this triple digit, number, these numbers very, very high. And I do feel that if we hit a $10 or a $20 XRP, like guys like you and me, I already know from conversations we've had and Mario and God, we're going to be super excited. I mean, $10 to $20 XRP, first of all, will be life-changing for a good number of people. But I'm afraid that there will be lots of people that'll be like, ooh, that's garbage. I don't want that. I want, I want 100. I want a 200. And I hope that is the case. I hope folks take some profits on the way up, because that is a significant increase into that. I mean, when you think about that, that puts us almost at about, a $20 XRP puts us almost around, I think, $1 trillion market cap. That's a very, very healthy, good size number. And to have this expectation to think that it's just going to keep going up and up and up, I think will cause people to not take profits. And then when we come back crashing in the back end, people will be awfully disappointed. So I hope people heed your advice. I agree with you totally, that if you've got this expectation of 750 in your head, you're not going to be happy at 10 or 20, and you're going to miss. And guys, that's exactly what the elites want. Abs, you remember, we were here. We were here when Bitcoin the first time went to $60. Yes, I understand the multiplier. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the end days. If we're at 10 or 20 bucks and people are expecting 700, they're not going to sell. That's abs. That's exactly what happened. You remember when we were sitting there the very first time, the first bull run cycle last 4 years ago, and Bitcoin was at 60K, what were we hearing? What was everybody on the radio saying? What was the news saying?
100K.
Yes, exactly. They kept saying, we're going to 100K, we're going to 100K, 100K. What happened? We got 69 and thing crashed. Nobody sold. Why? Because everyone kept saying we're going to 100K. Well, what do you think is going to happen this time around when we're at 20? What are they going to say? They say we're going to 40, we're going to 50, we're going to 100. And you're not going to sell. You're going to get caught if you don't have an exit plan, if you don't stick to it. I can tell you this, Abs, we know how the game is played. I will not be paying attention to the talking mouths that are telling us how high they're going. You look at the fibs, you look at the leverage that's out there in the world. You look at how big this economy can get, what the market cap size is. People are like, oh, market cap don't matter. Well, it does and it doesn't. Because you got to it is a good measuring tool to get a sense for how much capital is in the world and how much is actually coming into this space before we start to feel like, hey, this thing's getting over leveraged. Because once it starts to get over leveraged, Abs, we know what happens. The big boys wipe out that leverage, and that's usually close to the top. So anyway, I agree with you. I hope people heed your advice too, and they look at, no, Abs didn't get a haircut. I hope they look at it as, be happy. Abs, if we're at $10 or $20 and people are upset, oh my God. I don't understand if people are not happy at a 10 or 20. I'm not saying you sell all your bags. I'm saying maybe you sell 1%, 2%, 3%, and take some money off the table and go pay, something off or invest into doing something different. Take some of that profit off because it isn't going to stay higher forever. But anyway, that's my sentiment. I'm there with you on that one, my friend.
Guys, it's Saturday night. It's 10:30 p.m. If you're enjoying this content, show us some love. Smash that like button. Let the YouTube algorithm know these guys are all right. And here's your reward. We are going to be giving away that poster absolutely free in the next 10 minutes. So, Johnny, anybody who wants a chance to win this, you have a chance to win absolutely free. Head on over to Johnny Krypto's Twitter account, click on the link, and go through the very simple process of just giving us your name and phone number so we can give you the award live on air. If you'd like double the chance to win this poster, which is signed by Jake Claver, it's signed by Mikkel, it's signed by myself, it's signed by Johnny Krypto, live donations will have double the chance to win regardless of the size. And we just got another one. Big shout out to Bailey. I have almost 1,000 XRP, Abs and Johnny. Bailey, quick reminder, never tell anyone how much XRP
Bailey, that's the number one rule. You never tell anybody how many coins you have. But we love Bailey. She's definitely a favorite fan of the show. But yes, and not just for Bailey, but for everybody. I've seen people in our chat before, hey, I have this many XRP or that many Cardano. Guys, keep that to yourself. Don't tell anybody how much you have. My guess is Bailey was just joking with us. And if she wasn't, just say you were, Bailey. That's a hint.
There you go. And if you do have 1,000 XRP, that gets you in the top, I believe, 25% of wallets on planet Earth. Yeah. If you want to get in that top 10%, guys, you got to have more than 2,400 units of XRP. So those are some good goals, especially for newer investors. Now, if you got a little bit of money to play with, shoot for that 10,000 because then, Johnny, the math gets really exciting. $10 XRP at 10,000 is 100 grand. If we reach $100, that's $1 million portfolio off what would be a $30,000 investment today. But we're going to break down this chart really quick because I think it's so important. There's a lot of negative sentiment out there. Let's provide a dose of optimism because historically, September is the most bearish month for digital assets, but October and November are the most bullish month. October has an average return of about 22% in the month, and it's been green 10 out of the past 12 years. When we look at November, we've got an average return of about 46%. You're hearing that correctly. 46% average return in the month of November, but we've only had a bull market 8 of the 12 years. So October is 10 of 12, November 8 of 12, and December, once again, 8 of 12. Here's what's really interesting, Johnny Krypto, is that 3 bullish months in a row, that's exactly what this market needs right now. If we see what these prices that we're witnessing today be the relative lows, meaning if Bitcoin reaching 109,000, that's the low. That's what we look at on the price chart a few months from now and we say, wow, that's when retail should have been buying. Wouldn't surprise me at all, especially heading into this. Now, Crypto Cat said, how do we make a donation to the channel? There's a small icon on the bar right next to where you type comments. I can't actually remember how it looks, guys. So live chat, help him out. Tell him how to donate so we can have double the chance to win. Big shout out to Crypto Cat. Looking sharp in his profile picture, Johnny Krypto. Shout out to our man. Now, Johnny, floor is yours as we dive into this part of the episode. What are some of your thoughts there?
Yeah. So if you can, just bring up that green chart again, that calendar chart you just had up there. Because the one thing that I get excited about when I look at that, whatever you had the past 10 months there, wherever it is. But as you're pulling that up, there it is. What I get really excited about in this thing is if you look at it, most of the times we're like you said, bearish in September, right? And it's followed by green. But what's really cool is if you look at when we're bullish in September, every single one of those times where we're bullish, Look what happened in October. There it is. I knew I knew my man Scrim would come back with a couple more glasses of whiskey there. I knew it was late. It was too early in the show. He's up to his 4th one by now. Shout out to you, Angus. He's definitely a great follower of the show. But Abs, look at this chart right here. This is encouraging. There hasn't been a single month or a single year where we've seen a green September followed by a red October. And, that's actually bullish because I'm hearing a lot of crap about how October is going to be a very challenging month for the stock market. And this kind of is a little bit, at least historically, you can kind of get. Now, this would be really cool to have this coupled with what the stock market did from September to October, because then that would be another data point that I know we don't have it, but that would be an interesting point to see. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm excited because not only do you get a month in October, but you see also a month in November. So if history is any kind of indicator whatsoever, Abs, we're setting up for at least at a minimum 2 more months of green upside potential. And that's why they call it not October, but Uptober, my friend.
We need that, guys. We actually do. And I think a lot of retail investors who came in 2024 are frustrated with the price action. It's the veteran investors that kind of are going through this process level-headed. And I do want to give a massive shout out to Angus Scrim, guys. Now, just a quick reminder, starting in 4 minutes, live donations will not get you a second entry. So if you're thinking about it, be sure to give a live donation in the next 4 minutes. If you'd like double the chance to win that poster tonight. And Johnny Krypto, hold it up one more time. This is signed by Mikkel, signed by Jay Claver, signed by Molly Elmore, signed by Ito Farina, some others, Bree Teresi. Big shout out to important members of the XRP community. And this was signed at XRP Las Vegas. And Zach Rector, Linda P. Jones. So A tier, guys. Pretty cool that Johnny's willing to give this away. Big shout out to our boy, Johnny Krypto. Big shout out to you, man. Now, another product that just hit the American markets as well, because we talked about that S&P product being live on the NASDAQ. Here's something new on the the other one went live on the New York Stock Exchange. This is a product that just went live on the NASDAQ. The Hashdex NASDAQ Crypto Index US ETF is expanding to bring XRP, Solana, and XLM. Now, this is currently weighted at 82% Bitcoin and 18% Ethereum. We're going to see that change, Johnny Krypto, and this is soon going to be offered inside on the NASDAQ with XRP inside. What are some of your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, you can see already happening, Abs. You're starting to see the market is recognizing that this crypto's here to stay. There's no question about it at this point. Now they're all just trying to figure out what is the right balance. And for now, there's no surprise that you're basically seeing everything kind of heavily weighted to, if you're sitting there and you're wondering, why is it always Bitcoin or why is it only Ethereum? Well, guys, you got to remember, there were 2 coins or 2 cryptos that were given pretty much a free pass. One, rightfully so, Bitcoin deserves it. It is not a centralized entity. It has no corporation. It doesn't meet the Howey rule whatsoever. Okay, so there's no question there. And Gary Gensler has already come out and said there's nothing to assess here. We already know it's not a security, right? Then the second one was Ethereum, which we know in this case it was a security, but it got a free pass because of its buddies and Hinman and all that. We know the whole story there. So those 2 apps had a head start. And, I always talk to you about first mover advantage. This is what you're seeing. This is the benefit of the first mover advantages. They are the ones getting, the ETFs already launched and the basket ETFs launched. And now these other products being launched. And it's fine. It's okay. They've got it. The reality is now that we have a more I don't want to say non-corrupt president, but somebody who's more willing to, I should say more of a crypto-friendly administration, we are now going to be able to have a level playing field. And sooner or later, we're going to be talking about all of the, yes, that is one of the ways to donate for the poster, MJ. You absolutely nailed it. And thank you. Shout out to you for your $20 donation. We greatly appreciate you. Another way to get into it is just go over to my Twitter channel at JohnnyCrypto00.com, crypto with a K. I don't know why I said .com. Yes, it is .com. And sign up on the Twitter page at the top there. There is a link to the Survey Monkey. You sign up for the raffle there, and that'll get you your second entry, and that'll get you in there. But, Abs, yeah, the bottom line is they just got the free advantage, but that is going to be going away soon. Once we get the Clarity Act, Abs, the way I view it is the free pass in first mover advantage that Bitcoin and Ethereum got, it's over. Clarity Act is going to bring everything. It's literally going to be like game open now for all the tokens out there. And this is where you heard, I don't know if it was Kevin O'Leary or Ryan who said it, but this is where the market is going to get to pick the winners rather than right now the government who got to pick the winners. And that's the big difference. You want to be paying attention to that. Why? Because the government, they're only picking the winner that they're being lobbied to pick. The institutions, they are going to pick the winners that they believe are going to be cheaper, better solutions in the long run that can bring better bottom line dollars to their, better profits to their bottom line. And why is that important? Because those are the technologies that are probably going to survive the long run and become the next Amazons, Googles, and Microsoft of the world. And those are the ones you want to make sure you're invested in.
Guys, we just got a bunch more live donations, so I want to give a huge thank you. Everybody who got your donation in, you will have double entries to win that poster tonight. And once again, this poster is signed by Zach Rector. It's signed by Mikkel. It's signed by Jay Claver, Johnny Krypto, myself, Ito Farina, and many others. We're giving this away absolutely free. If you'd like a chance to win, head on over to Johnny Krypto's Twitter. You got about 60 seconds to do so. Fill out the application, and we're going to spin the wheel live on air. Just want to give a huge thank you to the live donations here, and then we'll begin to wrap it up for tonight. This person said, XRP to 10K to be fully used properly will be in 2 years. Listen, we're rooting for it, my friend, and if that happens, we'll be here for it. So shout out to you. Thank you for the $2. Motorbike Mike said, I'll put that poster up in my Jeep. Love you guys. We appreciate and love you too, my friend, and a big thank you for the $2 donation. MJ said, is this how to donate for the poster? Yes, that is. There's your answer. Carlos, $2 donation. Big thank you to you. Pancho Hernandez said that poster is going to look good in my game room. Yes, it will. Love the confidence. Love the confidence. And you'll have double the chance to win. Big thank you, Pancho. And Clinton said, huge shout out to our amazing host on GMC and GEC. I know you're talking about Johnny Krypto. So thank you very much, Clinton. And a big shout out to Johnny Krypto today. Meredith, with the $2 dono, you will have double the chance to win the poster. And we're excited to get it in one of the hands of the lucky participants tonight. So going forward, guys, we're going to begin tallying the names. We're going to play a couple of videos, and we just got one more. Big shout out to Sunshine Stream. She said, favorite live. We appreciate you on Good Morning Crypto, Good Evening Crypto. Sunshine, you're always there commenting, and we appreciate that. So thank you very much for the donation tonight. You're going to have double the chance to win that beautiful XRP Las Vegas poster. Someone said, missing the green hair. Nope, Johnny Krypto, he's a Republican now, so he let the green hair go. But we're going to play this Raul Paul clip in the background here, Johnny Krypto. We keep it humorous on the Saturday nights. But we're going to let this short clip play right here. This is Raul Paul talking about the possibility of the bull market. And Johnny, you just let me know when you have the names tallied. I got a couple of topics to kind of buy us some time here. But in the background, we're going to begin collecting names. We're going to spin the wheel live on air, and we are going to give away that XRP Las Vegas poster. So get ready, guys. Johnny, any comments real quick?
I'm going to go ahead and start pulling these names up. So I'm going to focus on that. Will you focus on this? I'll let you know when I'm ready to go.
Let's rock and roll, guys. And we're going to start off with this video of Raul Paul discussing what he's anticipating this alt season will look like. And while I've been stating we're probably going to have a bull run in October, November, and December, what Raul Paul is saying here is that the most bullish case scenario is we get dragged into 2026 and this bull market happens during Q2 2026. Now, I'm not going to move the goalposts, but that is what Raul Paul is doing. So we're going to break it down, guys. And this does go to show that if for some reason alt season doesn't kick off in October, November, there is light at the end of the tunnel in 2026, at least in the first half. Here's what Raul Paul had to say.
Why is Bitcoin sort of not wildly off to the races yet? And it's this chart. Bitcoin is basically, this is a detrended Bitcoin. And it's basically the ISM, which is the business cycle. Remember, we've always said it's the business cycle stupid. It is always the business cycle stupid. And all of these people who claim it's the 4-year cycle based around this and that, they don't understand the fundamental of what the business cycle is, why there's a 4-year cycle in everything. And we've explained it. We'll go through it in great detail tomorrow in our Everything Code presentation. But basically, it's following the ISM. And rates have been following the same pattern. You see, rates should have come lower They need to come lower because we need to roll the debt. We've talked about this. That's part of the everything code.
Guys, I really do enjoy this outline here because it talks about the liquidity cycle that happens globally. So it's not just focused on the Bitcoin price chart or something very narrow. He's talking about the bond market and the economy. And I do want to give a big shout out. We got 11,100 live listeners here, over 700 watching on YouTube. We just passed 525 likes, guys. Huge thank you. If you're enjoying this content, be sure to smash that like button live on stream and let YouTube know that you're enjoying this program. Let's get back into the news. Look at this screenshot, guys. Those eyes, they say it all.
Mental part. And ISM, because rates are so high, has meant that Main Street has been screwed while Wall Street's made money from debasement. Earnings versus scarce assets. This is the issue that they need to solve, and they need to get rates lower. They get rates lower. Why? Why do we have an elongated business cycle that looks like virtually no other real other time? It's because, and I only just found this out redoing the work on the everything code recently, is that in 2021-22, they actually extended the maturity of the debt from 4 years to 5 years. So that extension of the maturity of debt has pushed out the business cycle a year. The 4-year cycle this time around is a 5-year cycle. We don't know what the next one will be until we see where they all end up getting refinanced. Whether it comes back to 4 because they managed to get some stuff at the long end, or whether they shorten it because everything's in the short end. We don't know yet. But this one is a 5-year cycle. And this is what it looks like. 5.4-year sine curve. 5.4 years is the exact average weighted maturity of the debt. And it tells us the ISM should peak by 2026. We think liquidity probably peaks before that, as the rate of change of ISM changes and the rate of change of liquidity changes. Our best guess remains well into 2026, probably Q2. Why is
So again, guys, there is a situation here where we don't get a bull market in the fall of 2025, but instead we get a dragged out liquidity cycle into 2026. And while we're still getting these names in order, we're going to play one more short clip here. This is Robbie Mitchnick, who's the head of digital assets at BlackRock and a former Ripple intern. He's being asked about, will BlackRock ever launch an XRP ETF? Here's his response, and then we'll dive into the live raffle where we give away this poster live on Good Evening Crypto.
I have actually publicly predicted that BlackRock would file for a spot XRP ETF and a spot Solana ETF, which you have not yet done. And again, I'm not expecting you to comment on that at all. But what I will ask you is, how is BlackRock thinking about future product development around crypto-related ETFs? Because you have had these two massive success stories with IBIT and Ether. So certainly that has to have your attention. But what about moving forward?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of factors that go into that decision-making process, obviously. But the biggest driver ultimately is our clients, right? What is the level of investor demand? What is the logic and investment thesis for investors and for our clients around these potential products? What problem are we solving for them? And so when we think about other potential opportunities in this space, obviously we're looking at things like market cap, liquidity, maturity, but also clarity of investment thesis and overall sort of product and portfolio considerations in terms of how clients long-term are going to be able to use products in this space, build the types of portfolio exposures holistically that they want. And so that's a constant evaluation process. It's not a fixed point in time thing, but ultimately that's the kind of process that we deploy.
So there you have it, Johnny. Liquidity, community, market cap, many of the things that we've been discussing here, these are going to be the identifiers for what BlackRock determines to launch products for. And he was asked about Solana and XRP. And what do we know about those two products? Those are two of the only altcoins today that have institutional demand prior to ETF approval. There's no institutions dying to get access to Litecoin or Polkadot. They're not dying for Dogecoin exposure. They want exposure to XRP, and they also want exposure to Solana. Now, Zachary Clark with the $20 donation, massive thank you to you, my friend. He said, I bought Ripple shares on Linkdo. John Deaton is following a lawsuit against Linkdo. On his X page, there is a Google form. I filled it out and they sent me proof of claim form to fill out and mail back in. Is that legit? Now, listen, Johnny Krypto, I'm going to defer to you on this one because I'm not entirely sure. So I'm just going to have to kick it over to Johnny Krypto. I do appreciate the $20 donation, but I will only speak on things that I know about. And I don't know about this, so I'm going to kick it over to you, Johnny. You're muted, so be sure to unmute.
I know that John Deaton was doing some work on some help there, and there was a form to fill out. I did think that the time had expired on the form, so I'm not sure exactly what Zachary's talking about, which form. Zach, if you want to DM me in Twitter, DM me a link to whatever you're seeing, and I'd be happy to look into it because I am looking into that myself. And I know John did have a Google Doc on there. There was definitely a Google Doc and a form, so you can try filling that out. I believe that was legit on John's channel, and see where it goes. But I know he is certainly fighting it. But I mean, there's probably not a lot of risk at this point. But go ahead and DM me, John. We'll take it offline and be happy. Or Zachary, and I'll be happy to help you as much as I can.
Absolutely. And considering you told him to go fill out the form that he just said I filled out, I think he's going to need some more advice, guys. But we're just keeping it lighthearted, of course. Now, Johnny, here's the important part of the episode. We are giving away the hat absolutely free, and your screen is on the YouTube feed right now, just so you know. We're going to pull up the feed so we can raffle this thing off, and here it is, guys. The chance to win. Let's hold up that poster one more time. Anybody who's never done this before, how we do it here on Good Evening Crypto, we spin this wheel live on air. It selects a name. We call that person live on air. We let them know they won. They get to say a word here, and then we give it away. We ship it to them, and they can hang it up in their office, I guess, a week from now, Johnny. So pretty exciting. I just want to give a huge thank you. We did pass 560 likes on the episode. If you're enjoying this content, smash that like button. Help us pass 600 during the live giveaway. That would be a pretty euphoric and exciting moment. But with that being said, guys, let's dive right into this. And Johnny Krypto, anything you want to say before we spin the wheel?
Absolutely. Very excited. We have about 90 people that signed up with. So good luck to you all. Thank you for the donations. Anybody who donated, if you lived in the U.S., your name is in here. This is only for U.S. only, guys. So if you're in there, your name is on the list. If you are out of the U.S. and you're wondering why your name's not on there, that's why. So with that said, here we go, Abs. I am going to spin this wheel, and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. You're on mute.
Rookie mistake. Big moment, guys. Somebody's about to win this very exciting, brand new, and exclusive signed XRP Las Vegas poster, signed by Zach Rector, signed by Jake Claver, signed by Mickle, Johnny Krypto, all the A-listers. Johnny, you're just part of the group, my friends. And this about to land on Boca G. It just missed Boca G.
Oh, wait. Is MJ going to get there?
Oh!
Oh, my God. It was so right on. And you couldn't even get any closer to being on the line than we were between Jamanta Faz and MJ. But congratulations to Jamanta. Now, actually, wait. So it's not over. We need to see if Jamanta's in the house. So Jamanta. Oh, wait. It looks like Jamanta is here.
Awesome. Big shout out. I'm pretty sure it's not pronounced Jamanta. I'm going to go with Jamanta. I feel like Jamanta might be better.
Italian, so I say A. So there you go. You're right.
Shout out to her. She just won. I'm pretty sure it's a her. So we're big shout out to you. You just won. Johnny Krypto is going to be calling your phone to congratulate you and give away the poster live on air, guys. If you found that to be exciting, congratulate Jamanta in chat. We appreciate you. And this is somebody I've noticed in the live chat for a really long time. Nova Krypto is another person who's won a giveaway. This guy said, don't discriminate Canadians. Listen, we don't discriminate Canadians. It's the United States Postal Office that does
yeah,
that.
Just ask the last guy who tried to get his hat. There's a reason why we don't do it right now. But there is a good reason. So with that being said, I am going to try to give her a quick call, Ab. So keep chatting while you can. And I'm going to see if I can get her on the phone for a quick hello and congratulations there. So give me a second.
Awesome, guys. Somebody said, I never win squat. Well, Kevin, you just won a chance to be on the Good Evening Crypto Show. Big shout out to Kevin Tipton. $2 donation, said he never wins. Well, you are still a winner. Keep working, my friend. We Canadians can pay postage. Hey, listen, you can't speak for all the people of Canada, my friend. I mean, I don't know. Is this the Prime Minister live in chat, Johnny Krypto? We'll have to wait and see. If it is, send a live donation. We'd appreciate it, my friend. Us
I'll
Americans.
tell you what, when he can get the U.S. postal system to deliver something to them, well, that will be okay.
Awesome, guys. So, Johnny, whether we want to make the call or not, totally up to you. I'm ready to wrap it up, guys. We've been live for an hour and 10 minutes. It's 11 p.m. on a Saturday night, and we're here with the Good Evening Crypto community. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Quite frankly, this is how I'd love to spend every Saturday night. If you guys had some fun, smash that like button, leave a comment in chat as we begin to wrap it up for today. But Johnny, totally up to you. If you'd like to call. Poncho's calling for them to call. I think we should call too, but if we don't have access,
I'm gonna give Jamantha a call and see if I'm pronouncing her name wrong and if she answers the phone. So be prepared. Here comes the call, Jamantha. Yeah, just give me a second while I dial her number here. And let's see here if she picks up. All right.
Dialing, guys. He's dialing the phone.
All right. We got the number here dialing. We'll see.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Ah!
The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone.
I guess Jamantha doesn't want to talk to us. She's like,
Listen.
I'm here in the chat. She don't want to talk to us. So, oh, well. Oh.
No problem, guys. No, not everybody can feel comfortable kind of talking or whatever. If you'd like to, we did call. I just want to give a huge thank you. We got 12,000 live listeners here. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button. It greatly helps out this brand new channel. We started this thing, I believe I created the first video April 22nd. So that's 5.5 months. We already passed 25,000 subscribers. So I just want to give a massive thank you to every single subscriber out there. And if you just found our channel, welcome in to the fastest growing crypto channel in the entire crypto universe. With that being said, we love you guys. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you in the next one.